You've probably heard that we should be drinking 8 glasses of water a day. But what happens if we drink too much water? Is it possible to drink too much water? Well, yes. And this is called overhydration. Overhydration occurs when you drink more water than your body needs. This can cause a number of health problems, including seizures, confusion, and in severe cases, death. Where did that come from? Well, it's actually a very old rule that was established in the 1940s and has never really been updated. If you're constantly feeling the need to use the bathroom, it could be a sign that you're drinking too much water. Second, you may experience frequent headaches. This is because when you're overhydrated, your brain is being forced to work harder to try to compensate for the excess water. Finally, you may notice that you're feeling weaker or more tired than usual. Thanks for being a part of our journey. This is because overhydration can lead to a number of other physical problems such as fatigue and muscle weakness. First, let's talk about the benefits of staying hydrated. Our bodies need water for all sorts of functions, from regulating temperature to transporting nutrients to cells. When we don't have enough water, our bodies can't function properly. Dehydration can cause. But did you know that drinking too much water can be just as bad, if not worse, than not drinking enough? The effects of dehydration are well known and can include fatigue, constipation, dizziness, headaches, and even organ damage. But overhydration can also cause serious problems like hyponatremia, a condition in which the sodium levels in your blood become diluted below the recommended amount. This can cause confusion, seizures, and even death. So it's important to know how much water is too much. There's no real scientific evidence to support this claim. In fact, the Institute of Medicine has estimated that the minimum amount of water a person needs to drink is closer to 4 cups, or about half a gallon per day. Of course, this can vary depending on a number of factors, including your activity level, the climate you live in, and your overall health. But the important thing to remember is that it is better to drink less water than to drink too much. Today, I'm going to tell you why drinking too much water isn't good for you and how it can actually kill you. Let's start with a little experiment. As I mentioned earlier, overhydration can lead to a number of serious health problems, including seizures and coma. What actually causes death? Well, in extreme cases, overhydration can cause something called cerebral edema. This is when your brain swells due to the excess water. Eventually, the swelling can become so bad that it puts pressure on your brainstem. This can lead to respiratory depression, meaning that your brain will start to shut down. If this happens, you may stop breathing altogether, and eventually your heart will stop beating. Death. This is important because it helps regulate things like your muscle function, nerve function, and even your blood pressure. But it is still possible. So how much water should you be drinking? Well, again, it depends on a number of factors. But the important thing to remember is that it's better to drink less than too much. If you're thirsty, drink. But if you're not, don't force yourself to chug down glass after glass of water. Listen to your body, and it will tell you what it needs. So next time you're thinking about hydrating, ask yourself, do I really need to drink more water? Or am I just doing it because I think I should? After all, sometimes less is more. But what happens if you drink too much water? You might think that increasing the amount of water in your system would be beneficial, but it actually does just the opposite. It dilutes the concentration of these electrolytes. This is known as hyponatremia, which is a fancy medical term for low sodium in the blood. Take 2 identical plants, put them in separate pots, water them, and then put one of them in a bright spot and place the other in a dark closet. Which one do you think will grow better? Of course, the one that receives light. The same is true for our bodies. We need sunlight, or more specifically, we need electrolytes. When you're well hydrated, your blood has a certain concentration of electrolytes like sodium. Think about it like this. Let's say you have a glass of water, and you add a few drops of food coloring. At first, the water will be slightly colored, but your body relies on these electrolytes to function properly. For example, sodium helps regulate fluid balance in your body. When you're dehydrated, your body will actually hold on to sodium to try to conserve fluids. But if you continue to drink large amounts of water, your body won't be able to keep up with the sodium levels, and it will become diluted. This can lead to a number of problems, including headaches, nausea, and in severe cases, seizures and coma. But if you keep adding water, eventually the color will become so diluted that it will be almost impossible to see. This is similar to what happens to your body when you overhydrate. The more water you drink, the more diluted your electrolytes become. So what's the big deal? Why is it so bad if your electrolytes get diluted? But what about the no? One rule of hydration, the one where you're supposed to drink 8 glasses of water a day? Here are some signs that you may be overhydrated. First, you'll probably notice that you have to pee a lot. Now let's talk about how overhydration can kill you. Of course, this is a very extreme example, and it's not likely to happen unless you force yourself to drink huge amounts of water. It's been a huge decline in mental health around the world, which is why we're so committed to creating more content than we ever have. If you've been following along, you know that drinking enough water is important for good health. In this video, we'll talk about the risks of overhydration and what you can do to prevent it. Let's dive in.